Three, two, one. Hey, everybody, this is Victor. I am here with Nikiea. We're going to be talking about how she went from beginner to her first 32K net profit flip. Hey, how are you doing?
How you doing? Doing well.
Good. Oh, good. I'm so excited to hop on here and like share your story because you sold your first flip like A to Z, like you bought it, renovated it, sold it, and like you've gotten your money back and then some, which is awesome. So I just wanted to like, share your journey with everyone and just like have you as a source of inspiration. Like, Nikiea did it. There's no reason other people, shouldn't do it either. So before we get into all those details, like what's your background?
So before I got into real estate, my profession is engineering. So my W-2 job, my 9 to 5 job is an engineering job. I work for a government company.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where my background is. I got into real estate a couple of years ago, like fresh out of college. Just kind of wanted to do just a little bit of investing. You first get into an industry job right out of college, you start making a lot of money. I just kind of wanted to find ways to invest. So I started off initially, I want to say like 2018. I bought a property back home that I've been renting out long term for the last 3 years.
Yeah. So what I like about your story, like this flip wasn't like your first real estate deal. Like you've done like a rental. I think you have an Airbnb too, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So I also have, so after I did the long-term rental, life started to go on, and then
Mhm.
Airbnb and short-term rentals, HomeAway started to become more popular.
Yeah.
So when I started looking for a house for myself, my first primary residence, my realtor kind of put me on to Airbnbs and how popular they were. So
Mhm.
I ended up purchasing two Airbnb properties within the last 12 months. I want to say September will make the first official 1 year anniversary for my first Airbnb. So that was going really, really well. And so I was like, okay, I kind of did the long term. I'm doing short term. I said, now I kind of want to do something else. With rentals, anybody who does rentals know that money comes in slowly, but consistently, right? And I was just like, man, I want to do something where I can make like a big chunk of money and like really put more energy and profit into my business. That way I'll really be able to, kind of spend a little bit more money on like my marketing and this and that. And I said, I really need an opportunity to make a big chunk of money. And so that's when I started looking into flips.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up connecting with you, Victor.
Yeah, no, awesome. I like it. And there's nothing wrong with rentals, but it's like, do you want 300 a month cash flow or do you want 30K, plus 30K in your bank account? And what's
Right.
going to impact you more? And for a lot of people, 30K is a lot. Then you can put that into rentals. You can put that in Airbnb or just having plus 30K is just huge for most people. So you got into the flips. Or you realize, excuse me, like you realize, okay, flips are where it's at. I should add that as a tool in my tool belt. Before we met, what were some of the struggles you had, like getting into flipping or getting into real estate?
So I think the struggle that I had with getting into flipping was um I think I had like the desire to do it, but I really didn't have the information
Mm,
needed. And I think like for a lot of people, there's tons of people on social media, tons of resources online that tell you this is what you should be doing to be involved in like fix and flips, and they give you all this information. But it's sometimes hard when there's a lot of conflicting information or it's not really from a trusted person because you don't know, these investors. You don't really know like how much money they're really profiting. And I've even learned just in the couple of months that I've been working with you is that a lot of people will say like, oh, I got this deal and I made this amount of money. And then like when you really know about it and you start calculating, you're like, nah, it's not really possible that you did that. So a lot of people will kind of fluff and, exaggerate, their skills and their money just to kind of, buy you into their group. And so that was kind of the thing for me. I was like, man, I really don't want to go out here and just like lose out on all my money. So I said I really wanted to kind of figure out a way to find somebody who I trusted, who was very knowledgeable, who was also kind of on the same journey as me. Because like you said, you initially started, working a regular job, and then you kind of got into this slowly, and then you just continue to grow. And that was kind of more so the path that I saw for myself. I would love to get out of corporate America one day. Hopefully nobody on my job is watching. I'm just joking. But I definitely like that we kind of had the same journey. So I definitely was more willing to work with you because I felt you were more trustworthy. And I like the fact that you were somebody who was kind of like reachable. Like if I needed something, I could reach you easily. And a lot of these people, they kind of sell you an ebook and then you never can hear from them again. Or, you know, they'll post something on Instagram, but then when you try to message them and ask questions, you can't get any answers. So that was kind of what was hesitant for me. I was like, I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to risk losing money and I didn't want to waste time. So I just wanted to be with someone who could really mentor me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate the kind words, and that's the truth. A lot of people join like Facebook groups, they post a question and they get like 10 answers, and they're all like different answers. It's like, okay, well, who do I listen to? Like, what do I do? And then you kind of spin your wheels for a long time, and you don't really get anywhere, which is unfortunate. And all that time is wasted. And then a lot of people, just another thing you said, like they report like gross profit, like, oh, I sold it for 100, I put in 10, you know, I bought it for 50, like, oh, I made 40K. It's like, wait a second, yeah, closing costs, you have holding costs, you have like these other costs that so you have to, you know, find someone who's truthful. Okay, so then we connected, you joined my program, which is fantastic. What's been the experience like? Do you feel like I have been, just to finish that thread, do you feel like I have been there for you, like to support you, like and analyze a deal? How has that been for you?
So definitely will say I definitely feel like you have been very supportive. I will say that I did not really take the time to read or watch all of the tutorials that you have online, but I love the fact that you had them. Because it kind of definitely, I think after like week 2, I just stopped and I was like, okay, I have enough courage in me to just go out there and do it. Yeah. But which led to a lot of questions along the line because I skipped so many steps. It was like, well, hey, Victor, I found this deal and I don't know what to do now. And it's just like, okay, well, I'll help you. Never once did you say, well, Nikiea, go back and watch week 6 and you'll get the answer, which I love because I hate when some people like, they'll do that. I'm like, yes, I know. I didn't do my part and watch all of your videos, but I still need help with this question. And not one time did you say, well, you know, go back and watch this, or did you read this information that I gave you guys in the course or anything like that? You were always willing to help. And I think that's definitely been beneficial for me is just like, if I have a question, like, and then you're very fast responding, you know what I'm saying? So I like that as well, because in this business of real estate, you don't have time, the luxury of time to sit around and wait and try to figure out answers. You need someone, you know, who can be quick and help you make a decision pretty quickly and, you know, move forward. So I definitely feel like this program has been helpful for me.
No, awesome. Yeah, especially in today's hot market, like you wait a couple hours, even a couple days, like it's gone and the deal's gone. So like the quickness is really key. Well, you know, if you're open to it, I'd love to hear about this deal. You know, kind of successfully completed, you know, A to Z, closing it, table to closing table, got your money back, and made some money. I'd love to hear about this deal. You know, whatever you're comfortable sharing, you know, would love to hear it to inspire others.
So I found the deal by I follow quite a few, probably maybe 100 different investors like on social media, and a couple of them are wholesalers. So one of the guys that I follow posted a listing that he had in Atlanta, and that he was doing a showing in 2 days. So basically in 2 days, you know, whoever came out to do a showing, first offer, you know, he was going to accept. So I reached out because I do have a little bit of family in the Atlanta area. Like, hey, can somebody go, you know, and do this walkthrough real quick? Make sure, you know, it's good, because he's the type of person, he doesn't post pictures or anything. He doesn't post the address. Like, you have to send in proof of funds. Really? So you don't see any pictures. You don't get an address. You just know like a city, and kind of like it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 500 square feet, something like that. Like, he gives you very little, but I think that's because he's built a reputation where people know that he's advertising good deals. Yeah. So I reached out and I asked my uncle, I was like, hey, you know, this person posted this deal online. I don't really know anything about it, but I know there's supposed to be open house in a couple of days. Can you go by there And my uncle being a general contractor, he could also walk the property and kind of just also give me an estimate just by walking the property about how much rehab would cost. So we did that anyway. I put in an offer. Initially got denied, not because he didn't like my offer, just because he gave it to an investor friend of his at first. Financing, I guess, for that investor fell through. He called me up and was like, hey, financing fell through. If you still want the house, I need a signed contract today. So I was excited, went forward with that. That was early June. We closed on the property, and I flew out because I live in Arizona, flew to Georgia, and we began working, I want to say like mid-June. And we hit the boots running really hard, working every day. Contractors, crew members. I did tons of Home Depot runs. For anybody who's done a flip, I don't know about you, but I probably was at Home Depot like 5 times a day. Like the Home Depot people knew me by name after
Everyone
like
knows you. Yeah, exactly.
because it was just like, oh, we need more screws. Oh, we need this. And it's just like, but I enjoyed the process because I felt like I was very hands-on with it. So I definitely enjoyed it. So fast forward, I want to say it was like 4th of July weekend. Everything was pretty much done. We were kind of like beginning a little bit of staging that we were going to do, getting photos and stuff done, getting it prepared to be listed. And my aunt is a real estate agent, so she was the listing agent for the deal. Yeah. So that was also really good. So I want to say that was like 4th of July weekend. We instantly started getting offers like within the first couple of days.
Awesome.
I will say that process was kind of confusing for me. I'm not a real estate agent, so I don't really know like the methods behind picking offers and all of that. But all I knew is she would call me or send me a text and say, got another offer. And I'm just like, accept the first one so we can get sold. But I guess there's some strategy to picking offers, which I'm not privy to that information. I don't know anything about that. But either way, so we finally got a cash offer that was above asking. So I guess I skipped that part. So we listed the house at 205. We ended up getting an offer for 217.
Awesome.
So it was a cash offer for 217. Yeah, and I think we ended up closing like July 21st or something like that.
So pretty quick.
Yeah, so we closed pretty quickly. But we renegotiated to close at 214. And that was because when we bought the place, we knew there was like some issues with the retainer wall in the backyard. My uncle suggested that we not do anything with it because it could cost, quite a bit of money to fix the retaining wall. So when they did their inspection, the buyers, I guess it came up on their inspection report that there were some repairs needed to the retainer wall and things like that. And so instead of us repairing it, we just came to an agreement to reduce the price $3,000. And
that seems fair.
We closed. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what did you buy it for? What did you put into it? And what did you sell it for?
So we bought it for $125. The initial rehab budget was $15,000. And we ended up putting in close to 30, around 28,000. And then we sold it for 214,000.
So great deal. Great deal. You can't beat that at all. That's awesome. Yeah, and then remind me if maybe I'm incorrect, but didn't your like first buyer when you're trying to sell it, didn't they fall through and you had to get another buyer?
Oh yeah. Well, so what it ended up being was that we were having this negotiation thing where they were saying, from my understanding with my aunt who was the agent, like the person we closed with came in at 217 initially. And then when they came back and was like, well, we want you to fix the retainer wall. And it was like a couple of other minor things on the inside of the house that came up on the inspection report, like something to do with like the crawl space, which nobody on my team went in the crawl space nor in the attic. Like we didn't touch any of those areas. We didn't go in there, so we don't know what was going on in those areas. So when they reached out about the retainer wall and something that was going on, like in the crawl space or whatever, we initially was just gonna like say forget their offer, like they're wanting too much. And so we were entertaining another cash offer. But they were gonna take longer to close. I think they needed like 21 days to close.
Okay.
So we reached back out to the initial buyer and said, okay, we'll meet you and say $3,000 off if you can close with your initial time frame, which he said was like 7 to 10 days. So we had lost a couple of days by going back and forth a little bit, but we decided to just ultimately go back with the initial buyer that we had. So that's kind of where that little hiccup came in at, because we were trying to like get a smooth, clean deal, no repairs, no negotiating, no nothing. But yeah, so we were like, it was still over asking by a substantial amount. So we were like, why not?
You can't be mad at that. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things like you learned like going throughout this entire process?
So for me, I learned, first of all, like even though this was a joint deal with my uncle, I pretty much used him for his experience, because anybody who knows, as a first time investor, you don't get the best deals, the best rates, so I used him in that sense. But I definitely will say that I learned that doing a joint deal, you really have to do it with somebody who has the same vision as you for the project.
Yeah.
And we did kind of bump heads a little bit, because I'm the type of person, I like really nice things. And even though I'm not specifically going to be living here, I don't want to attach my name, my company to something that doesn't meet the standard that I want. So it was a lot of times that we butted heads, where it was like, we could go with something cheaper. We don't have to fix this. We don't need to renovate that. That's not needed to sell this house. So it's kind of things like that, which I also learned that, you don't want to touch everything, But for me, I also learned about myself is that I don't want to leave certain things untouched that I knew I should have, corrected. Like with the kitchen, had we not, or should I say, had I not wanted to put in new cabinetry, we probably wouldn't have found the issue with the mold in the kitchen, which really kicked up the overage in our budget. Yeah. So when we tore out the old cabinets, the whole walls in the kitchen were covered in mold. So that caused us to like fully demo the kitchen, and one of the bathrooms that was like attached to the back wall of the kitchen. So we had to completely demo out those walls to address that mold issue. Yeah. And to find out like where the leakage and all of that stuff was coming from. Now, had we left the same cabinets that was there and not worried about that, we might not have even seen that mold, and we could have, saved that money. So that's something that I learned. But in my mind, I wouldn't have felt good about putting the house up with those old cabinets in that old kitchen either. I hate it personally when I see people who like put in new floors, but it's the same old cabinets, the same old countertop, the same outdated backsplash. It's like, for me, that's what I look at when I see properties. It's like, why did you do that? You know, but I understand for investors, it's about making money, right? But I learned that about myself, and kind of like what my goal is for my real estate career, I should say. I do want to make money, but I want to make it in a way that'll make me feel good.
I think that's a good way just to better understand yourself, because that niche is totally fine. Like, hey, you want to really make it high end, really make it nice. There are investors, I guess myself included, I've done those deals where it's like lipstick on a pig, like, paint flooring, and you call it good and you list it, and those sell and you make money. But at least like, hey, this is what the type of deals I want to do. So there's a lot of value in that. Well, awesome. Well, congrats. It's huge. You got your first deal, and do you feel like more confident going into like, hey, I want to do another flip, or more confident going into more deals? How do you feel about it now?
So I definitely feel way more confident about it. I feel like it was definitely a learning experience for me. I'm glad that I took the time, and I have this type of job where I could take off from work, pretty short notice for such a long period of time, and be hands-on with the project. I don't feel like I would ever be at a place where I would be comfortable doing like a long distance flip or any kind of long distance investment, just because I'm the type of person I like to say really hands-on with my money. So that part made me way more comfortable, because you really learn like what goes on day to day, like what the crew is doing, like what you can expect, how to know if they're really doing a good job. Because sometimes I've noticed from speaking to some of my other investor friends, like the days that they don't show up on site, the crew will sometimes try to take little shortcuts. And, you really want to be on site to just make sure everyone's doing their part at 100%. So I definitely feel more confident. I'm actually getting ready to renovate that rental property that I purchased a few years ago. I terminated my tenant's lease. So I'm actually going to get ready to start flipping that one, hopefully sell it, and then move on into the next deal. So I'm definitely excited. I have a lot of momentum after the first one. After your first one, you get really excited. You have a lot of momentum and a lot of motivation. You want to just keep going. So I'm really trying to feed into that.
Mm-hmm. No, it's exciting to see. Like, that's how you see like the real stuff. Okay, this is one. Let's do two. Let's do more. I know you're talking about this one property. You can basically convert it and flip it. And then I think you and I yesterday were going back and forth on like a potential rental deal. So we'll see how that one shakes out. But this momentum is really great, and you just harness that, and you'll be surprised where you're at 5 years from now in a good way. Well, that in mind, like, would you recommend others work with me as well?
I definitely would. I feel like anybody who's kind of on edge about getting into real estate and flipping properties, I definitely feel like if you need any kind of motivation, some confidence, some security, I definitely feel like your program would be perfect for them. So anybody, whether you're a beginner and you know nothing, or you've been doing it a little bit, but you may not be as successful as you want, and you could want to kind of learn like maybe some extra tips to make you more successful, I definitely feel like your project is good for those type of people, your program.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the kind words as well. And then why should someone listening like take action now?
They say life is short, right? So if it's something that you've been wanting to do, continuing to like think and harbor on it won't get you any closer to your goals. And I kind of feel like that's sometimes what we all need, is that little kick in the butt to like push us out there and say, just do it. At the end of the day, what do you have to lose? You lose money, you can make more money. You know what I'm saying? You lose a little bit out of your retirement fund, you can put that, all of that stuff can come back. You know what I'm saying? But to know, like, for you to feel regret later on that you didn't take those steps to achieve your goals, that's something you really can't recover from. So I say, if you're hesitant, just go for it. Give it a try. Let Victor help you and guide you through it. So.
No, that's huge. Like, what do you have to lose, really? And then what do you have to gain? Like in your case, like you made really good money on your first flip. Like, you can't be mad at that. That's awesome. Well, this has been really, really helpful, really insightful. Appreciate you taking the time to do this. Share your story and inspire others, and just make it happen. So I really much very appreciate it. Very much appreciate it, if I can speak here, but I do appreciate it. And then like, any final thoughts or any like final words of wisdom as we wrap up here?
So final words of thought I would just say is go for it. Go for your goals, go for whatever dreams you have, fulfill your aspirations. And good old saying says, scared money don't make no money. So
that's a good one. I like that one.
So go out there and do it. And I feel like another good thing about this program is that there are a lot of helpful people on the team who's willing to put out information and who's vulnerable and willing to tell you their mistakes. So being a part of this close-knit little family is also helpful in that sense. And also, if anybody is interested in doing a joint deal, I'm open to it as well. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm looking to keep the momentum going.
Cool. Awesome. Well, very cool. We can wrap it up there. Scared money makes no money. That's a good one. I really like that. Well, I appreciate it, Nikiea. Thank you so much.
Thank you.